Hi, I'm Tim and this is Paws on Point. Enjoy the episode and don't forget to like, subscribe, share and leave a comment after.
Hi. Are you okay?
The Calm Dog Studio, founded in 2017, introduced a new concept to the dog grooming industry. A shared vision that brings the opportunity for you to be able to bring your fearful, aggressive dog to the groomers, to the vet, and even in general. By working with you to bring that fear and aggression to an overall calmness. How do they do it? Based on 4 core principles. If you see the value of keeping up with grooming, and you want to invest in your dog's health and happiness, you want to create the most positive experience for your dog, and you want to work on training and conditioning with your fearful or reactive dog, then the Calm Dog Studio is the place for your dog. I got the chance to sit down with the Calm Dog Studio crew in between their very busy schedule and talk about the beginnings, lessons dogs teach, and the dog world in general. So sit back and enjoy. The Calm Dog Studio, where did that begin? Was it an individual idea? Was it both of you coming together and formulating it?
It was us coming together. Kind of just happened. It was literally happened during COVID. And we were sitting in the backyard at my old place and just we had a dream and time because of COVID. And we kind of just started with that. And then it just exploded after that.
We met working together at a previous groom shop, and it just the shop itself got quite busy, and it was a lot of stress and pressure on all of the groomers. I was the manager, and Kayla had been hired on as my assistant manager. And things in the salon started out really great. We had a really great couple years, and then the dynamics just changed a little bit, and it got to be really popular, really high pressure, just tons and tons of clients and expectations, and the burnout rate among our staff was unbelievable. We basically lost an entire staff base one by one. Every groomer quit because the pressure to keep up with the demand was insane, and none of us were okay. And so Kayla actually quit, and then I was the last one who quit, and we were pretty much both really honestly on the verge of complete and total burnout, of just feeling like we didn't even want to, work with dogs anymore. And it was like literally right at the same time as COVID. And that's when Kayla, on the place she was renting, there was a little sort of like garden shed area, and she completely converted it into her own little one-person grooming space. And so that's where she was working a couple days a week. And when I quit, that's when we reconnected, and she was like, "Hey, I have this space I built and it's just meant for one groomer, but I'm only using it half the week." And she offered to let me take my client list there and work there the other half the week. So then just naturally throughout COVID, we just spent a lot of time together outside of that really high pressure environment that we were in. We actually didn't even get along super well. And a lot of times when we were working our previous place, because of the demands that were coming from above that then I would have to put down. And it was a really tense, difficult environment. And working together during COVID, like separately, but together, really made us realize like how much we actually enjoy each other as people. And like Kayla was saying, that we realized we really had the same dreams and goals. And we were both single and not wanting to wait for any external party to get our dreams started. I had a client who wanted to invest and support my dream and believed that we could do something really big. And so with his support, we were able to work together and come up with, basically, we spent a lot of time discussing what wasn't working and what made us really hate our jobs and really feel just so burnt out and so unseen and so unhappy. And we just basically said, we're going to do everything differently, polar opposite differently, and in ways that I think a lot of people thought we were crazy. You can't make money this way. That's not how this industry works. No one's going to pay that. You're never going to be able to make that happen. And I think we were just so done Kayla too had worked in lots of different environments in Saskatchewan as well. She'd done mobile grooming, taught grooming school, worked in high pressure salons, and so we had our hand at lots of different working environments, and none of them were what kind of felt really good for us in terms of long term. And then when we started kind of really deciding what is working for us and what isn't, that's when the idea of the Calm Dog Studio was born. That we wanted the same experience for dogs that we wanted to have. We were tired of feeling strung out and exhausted, and we were tired of working with dogs who were strung out and exhausted. And so if we were going to do this, we wanted to just do it in a way that was going to be really sustainable, and that made us basically fall in love with our careers again.
Yeah, it's interesting that you have to get to that point
Yeah.
before before the conception begins. Do you see what I mean? And you're like, right,
Mhm.
okay. And I think because everyone's used to getting to that point, they can't see it when you do come forward and go, so this is how we're gonna do it. Everyone's like, why? That's not the norm.
Yeah.
It's so true. It's
Yeah.
like there has to be this massive breaking point before something can change. And it's something I wish now that we're on the other side of this, we so want other groomers to get to feel this and how good it feels. And there's so many people who aren't ready and who don't feel like it's possible and are still waiting for their own breaking point to feel like, okay, I can ask for what I need. I can determine how I want to engage with this industry.
I think it's a tough one because I think there's people who are in the line of work that we do and they love it and it's their passion, it's what they've always wanted to do, but that's as far as it can go. And now I'm gonna put myself in a vulnerable position now, but that's as far as it can go for them. Do you see what I mean? It's the dream, it's the passion. But I think there's another cohort of people that go, okay, that's not working, that's not happening. Here's what I'm gonna do. And they make the change. Do you see what I
Mhm.
mean? And I think
I think in order for us to get to the part where we are now is we needed all those some failures, some successes to make it what it is now, just because we know what works, what doesn't work, what we didn't want, what we want. And I feel like because we've gone through all of those challenges along the way, I feel like it's gotten us to the point where we need to be now. And it sucks it's taken us so long, but also we didn't really have any of the opportunities that we had during COVID when this all begun basically.
yeah, you effectively broke the cycle
Yeah,
Yeah.
basically.
because
Yeah.
what makes you happy makes the dogs happy, which makes the clients happy, which makes the dogs happy, which makes you happy.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
you created the break in that cycle of stress, 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 stress,
Yeah.
stress, you know?
Yeah.
It's so true, and it's something we talk about a lot, like, especially on our social media. There is no, "The dog had a bad time, but it's pretty good for me," it's tied. So when they're
Yeah.
struggling, we're struggling. When we're struggling, they're struggling. So it really you hit the nail on the head there. It was when our mental health got so bad that we were just so burnt out that I was like, "If we're gonna do this, it has to be with our needs being met first, and then it just coincides that our needs are also benefiting the dogs."
Yeah.
And then it just shows that everything that's done in the dog industry is that common theme is how the human is and where the human is at will depend on the reaction of that dog, what they're feeding into. Do you know what I mean? And it gets overlooked, it gets missed, or it gets
Totally.
dismissed. Mm,
Totally.
Yeah.
and it's something we've seen a lot. It's and I'm sure you have as well. But now you have the Calm Dog Studio. Now you're out there. You're at the top. You are setting the precedent, and it's cool to see. It's so cool. And your social media for the listeners that haven't ventured into the social media of the Calm Dog Studio, get on it because there's some pretty cool reels out there.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. It's all Kelsey. She does all of the social media and we wouldn't be the calm dog without that. So she puts a lot of effort and time and energy into it. So yeah,
Definitely pays off. It definitely pays off. And
totally. Yeah.
the message that comes across is cool because again, it's something that groomers don't do. It's you're stepping outside of that pigeonhole.
Totally.
And so this is what we find wrong. This is what's wrong, and this is why it happens.
Yeah. And it's
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 a
it's really fun to share it, even just
mm,
whether it's how Kayla and I are feeling on a certain day or something that we've discovered or something we want to share. I feel like because it's just the two of us that work together right now, I've found it to be something that has brought a lot of community to us and has made it feel like we're not alone in this little bubble. And I've really just been enjoying a lot of even other groomers that are gathering around us. And it makes it feel like we're all in it together and that it makes it a lot funner for Kayla and I to be able to share what we're doing and have some really good discourse online about it.
And I think it's about giving the those of us that have been true to the profession and actually shown that window into the profession,
Yeah,
dispelled the myth that the dog comes to us. Ta-da! Off it goes. It
Totally.
actually
Like
it
we don't
shows that
have magic wands.
yeah, we go through the journey as well. There's a lot of work that goes into that end product. It's the case of in, couple hours, out, done.
Yeah.
And I think that's what's starting to spark a fire. It's people going, "Oh, there is a lot that goes into that."
Yeah. It's not all
well,
with puppies all day.
yeah, and wanting more than anything, we have found this niche that is just incredibly underserved, like arguably abandoned for people whose dogs have had very traumatic handling experiences, grooming experiences, vet experiences, just naturally have behavioral issues, fearful of people. It's a huge demographic of dogs, especially since COVID, that
Mm.
are really struggling behaviorally with their mental health. It's a whole thing and there isn't anything for them. And I think it's important what I really want, especially with our social media, is for any groomers who have a similar passion, and there's a lot of them out there who want to be able to do the kind of work Kayla and I do, is to be able to educate them and show them it can totally be done and this is how you do it. But then there's a lot of people who are like, I just want to groom dogs. And it's not
Mm,
their job to fix trauma and to make behavioral modifications and to do training. And I think the biggest thing I want people to make sure that they don't look at what we do and think that's just the standard that all groomers should meet. Because
Yeah.
there's a lot of groomers who will take a dog that has behavioral issues and be like, I don't do this kind of thing, but the calm dog does and they can help you.
exactly,
Respect to those groomers who know what they want to do and it's not their job to do the rest. But for the rest of the people who are like, I really want to help these dogs, they come in and I just don't know how to help them. That's I think what we're really passionate about in our future is being able to work with other groomers and make way more calm dog studios. There's just no
right?
shortage of it. So let's share.
Quick pause. If this podcast means something to you, following us is the single best thing you can do to keep it going. Every follow helps more people find us, and more people finding us means more change for the service dog community. So hit that follow button now and let's keep going. Absolutely, and I think that's the important bit is recognizing the niche. You've
Mm.
put your flag in the sand and you said, "Hey, this is what we're prepared to do. This is what we're prepared to work with." We're not against any other groomer. We're not saying it's bad or anything like that. It's about giving you the option of going, "That's not my clientele, but it is theirs."
Mm.
Totally. Yep.
And I
And
think
it's I
that's
would way rather that than groomers who wanna muscle through and cause serious trauma or
mm,
further the trauma cycle because they just wanted to get it done and muscle through, and I think I just saw a post about a groomer was posted a massive scratch that they got, and they had been fighting a 100-pound dog, and they just got the nails done, and they were showing this big wound on their arm as, like, a badge of honor, and it was like, this dog probably needed our conditioning program. This dog probably needed 4 to 6 weeks of sessions that built on each other with positive association and conditioning and all these things. That's what that dog deserved. But it's just this twisted world where but I muscled through and I did this thing and I did it. And it's I appreciate that you wanted to help and do something nobody else could, but at the end of the day, that's the kind of thing that just does more damage. And that dog
Yeah.
deserves to have a real shot at being okay for the experience in the future.
yeah, and I think dare I say it, I think some of the professions there's an echo from a long time ago that's still echoing now.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah. It's like get it done, get
And
the
that
dog
whole
over
dig
help.
deep, muscle through, push through,
Yeah.
otherwise you're a complete failure. You shouldn't be
Yeah.
here if you're thinking that way, get out sort of thing. You don't deserve to be in the profession. And I
Yeah.
think that's an echo from a long time ago. I
Yeah.
think it's getting better.
I think
It's
it is
getting
getting
there.
better. Like when I first started grooming 20 years ago, it was like do as many dogs as you can, as little time as you need, in and out, pump pump. And now it's just that's not okay for myself, and that's not also not okay for the dog because that's not how we work. And so I think it is an old school mentality of go hustle because that's how you're going to make money in grooming. But if you take a step back and look at the areas where dogs struggle or people struggle and they can't do it, it's just find someone else that can help them with whatever they're struggling with. So,
Yeah, and I mean that's where you guys have been very instrumental in the helping of the service dogs and building them up from
and it's so
pups.
cool. It's so cool to see the dogs go through the program and me and Kelsey troubleshooting through each session if a dog can't do a certain thing or if it's too much too hands on with both of us, we'll take one of us will take a step back. And it's just so very interesting and amazing just to see from day one to session six, or they've booked 6 sessions and we've got it done in 4. And the parents are over the moon, like they've never had this done before, or they've never had their dog's nails done without this and this. And so
Mm.
it's so nice to see that the footage that we've or the I can't think of the word, just the course that we've made or the programs that we've made actually see them through and see how the dogs just react to that instead of pushing them through the limit and them having peeing or pooping or whatever.
But your job satisfaction goes to a whole new level because you
Yeah.
go through that journey. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like, yes, you could, I guess, you could have the dog, you could trim it, you could do whatever, and you go, yeah, that looks okay. Job satisfaction, but going through the journey that you go through with those dogs individually, that takes it
Mhm.
to a whole new level.
Totally. Yeah. Yeah.
And the dogs wear it. It's special on lots of levels to feel like, "Oh my gosh, we did this for this dog. What an incredible thing that we feel so lucky to be able to help them do." And then there's the gratitude on the parent level where the dog guardians are just the relief when somebody realizes they can finally provide basic care for their animal,
Mhm.
a nail trim, a vet visit, a haircut, things that are just
Right.
very basic quality of life pillars that people need to be able to do when you can't. It's incredibly distressing for people. And it gets to the point where animals are having to be fully anesthetized multiple times a year to have a simple 5-minute nail trim procedure done. And so when you're able to alleviate that stress from someone, just it's one of my favorite things is watching people's face when because we record all our sessions when I can show them the video of the first time we clipped a nail and people just the look on their
Like,
face and the
yeah.
gratitude they yeah, the how much it means to them. And then my favorite of all is for sure seeing how proud the dogs are. Like pride, I think, is one of the most underutilized motivating factors for dogs is to teach them they can do something hard and endure it and come out on the other side okay. They are so proud of themselves, and it's just palpable in the room when we've had a success and Kayla and I are cheering like fools, and the dogs are just like, "Oh my god, did you see that?" It is the best feeling in the whole world.
Yeah.
Yeah, there is something magical when you see the dog who's not so confident become confident in their own skin and be a dog. And I think, yeah, it's a liberating moment when you see that happen for the dog. We've seen it with dogs where the team have worked on them, and the dog that was frightened to go outside or be around other dogs suddenly starts interacting appropriately with other dogs and has a blast and runs around. And it's
Totally.
cool to see all those things, and it's just like, wow. It's
And it's funny, I've noticed a lot over the last probably at least a year and a half, but like how much overlap we have in clients, like Woofability and Calm Dog, like the amount of time I'll have a message come through and it's, oh my God, like April's, oh my God, you have, or like the parents are like, yeah, he's at Woofability, he's doing amazing. And I'm like, I totally noticed he was way less reactive in the studio today. So it's really neat, I think, for us to see that like we seem to have naturally, like, even though we enjoy working together, and I want to talk about how much we love the puppies in a second, we're working together and we naturally found each other, but it just has really organically happened that we have this sharing of clients and that we're dealing with similar people because we
yeah,
have similar values and similar ways about going about things and how we want to work with the dogs. And we see the effect of what you guys do when we'll see a photo of a dog that we know can't be around other dogs and it's at your facility with like 4 other dogs with the derpiest smile on its face, and I'm just texting clients to be like, "Oh my god, look at Louie!" I think Louie and Katie were 2 of my favorite, like, pairing friends that I saw from you guys, and I was like, "Oh, I cannot believe that."
I know it's cool, and I'm pleased that we're able to do that. And I'm as soon as we found you and suddenly saw what you do, and like you said, organically, it's just grown from there, and it's just
Mhm.
it the impact on both sides because we get to see the impact you guys have with the dogs as well.
Yeah, and vice versa. It's so neat.
It it's
Yeah.
so cool. Like we go to touch a dog's paw, and it's yeah, whatever. Whereas before, it's you touch me there, and you're gonna get it. Do you know
Yeah.
what I mean?
Yeah.
It's a wise
Totally.
choice, human.
And the puppies have been such a refreshing thing to add to what we do in a day because it was like I posted the reel the first time we came to your facility for this most recent litter of just how often our first experience with dogs is fear. They're fearful
Mhm.
of us, they're suspicious of our space, they've had bad experiences, they're waiting for us to let them down or hurt them or scare them. And the funnest thing about the puppies is the way that they grow up with you is that every new thing is just an adventure they haven't had yet or a friend
Yeah.
they haven't met yet. And it's just like polar opposite energy. And it's the hour and a half or whatever that we have the puppies. It is A, hilarious, utter chaos. And B, just like the most uplifting, lighthearted. We just are cackling the entire time. And it is
Pause on Point is brought to you by Pausability's Service Dog Society, a Canadian non-profit funding life-changing service dog partnerships for people who couldn't otherwise afford them. If today's episode has moved you, head to pausabilitiesservicedogs.ca and make a donation. Every single dollar goes directly to training and care, nothing else.
I love the fearful stuff. It's like our it is my heart, my soul. I love it. But this is just there's some levity to it, like right off the bat. That is a really nice breath of fresh air just to see dogs that never had to experience anything traumatic. And they're just come and be like, what's going on? And it's so fun.
I know, almost to the point where you're like, okay, guys, you're too confident.
Yeah. You could be humbled a little. Like when
Yeah.
when Bruce went flying over our coffee table in the backyard, just jumped, and the coffee table hit him at chest height. It sent his 2 front legs completely backwards, and he just was sailing, landed in a pile on the floor, and me and Kayla had this moment where, like, my heart dropped to my stomach, and he just gets up and looks at us and was like, "That was awesome!" And he kept running.
Yeah, the puppies have a purpose. They are going to be their purpose is to be service dogs. So, yeah, there's a lot of work that the team do in making it April and the crew do in making them as resilient as they are.
It's incredible.
And
Yeah.
it's also to prove it proves a point that the positivity that's put in from early pays dividends later on.
Yeah.
You know,
That's the exact same thing on our end. I feel like that's another thing I'm always trying to hammer home is don't just muscle through the groom. Stop, slow down, break it into a few sessions, positively associate, and everything you do up front, like front loading with positivity, is going to
Uh-huh.
pay off in spades down the line and it's going to save you so much work. So if you can just carve out that extra time and just make things really positive, it saves so much stress and trauma. It's the exact same thing.
for us, for the litters, bless them, it begins before they're even born.
Yeah.
Totally.
You know,
Yeah.
Yeah.
in like where midnight was, if you like, when she was carrying them, she was there supervised 24/7. But during that process, like 3 weeks before they're born, she's been exposed to sounds and things like that. So it becomes the norm before they're even born. And even when they're born, those noises, although they can't hear them, we're still doing it because it's being absorbed. It's all being absorbed. And then their eyes open and then their ears open and everything. And then we continue on with the training. So we start right before they're before they're born. And it works. It
It does work.
makes a huge difference.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people don't understand that trauma in utero can affect everything about how a dog comes out and lives. And that even the time, what's happening to the mother while she's pregnant is incredibly important to how these puppies are going to grow up. And Especially
Absolutely, and I
working in the
mean,
rescue world, I've seen a ton of that, of pregnant mothers that have just been through severe trauma, and it's like, those puppies are gonna be a total mixed bag. They cannot experience anything negative once they're born, but what happened before they were born will have potentially a heavy impact on how they experience life, which is
Yeah.
and
wild.
yeah, it is. It's wild. It's when you get your head around that factor, it plays. It's massive. It's
Yeah.
huge, but it also I found once once you learn that, once you see it, once you wrap your head around it, it helps you with other dogs. They're like, "Oh, he's only 2 months old, and he's been with us, and yeah, he behaves this way. Nothing's happened." And your brain's going, "Might not be happening now, but it probably happened before." Do you know
Mhm.
what I mean?
Totally.
It's you see the precursor happening. It's like, wow. Yeah, people like us, we undo all that as much as we can and unpick it and do our best for the dogs.
You
Yep.
are a huge asset to our community. We love working with you guys. We have so much respect and admiration for you.
Likewise, wow, you've taken the what many would regard as the nightmare part of your industry and gone,
Yeah. Kinda.
yeah, you've literally gone, "That's okay, we can do it." But you found a way, you found a model that makes it work. See what I mean? It's not old school. It's not, "Here we go, 15 dogs, push them through, bang."
Yeah.
It's literally, "Here's the dog. Okay, this is how it works. We're gonna scale this back. We're gonna go right back to basics, and we're just gonna be friends."
Yeah.
And I think a big piece, I don't know, Kayla, if you would agree with this, consent-based training, in my opinion, can sometimes get to a bit of a cuckoo place that I can't follow because at the end of the day, that's not life. We can't consent to every single second of everything. But I think there is a lot of consent is missed in grooming. It's this grooming is its own weird little corner of the industry where training expectations and rules won't apply because there is a basic level of care that has to be provided. The haircut has to happen. These are not things that you have 8 months to train through. It's not, we're going to work on the reactivity on a 6 month plan. It's like to a certain extent, there is a lot more of a shorter timeline for working through this kind of stuff. But having said that, considering how unbelievably physically involved and intimate grooming is, like talking
Right.
about scissoring within millimeters of a dog's eyeball and the trust they have to give us to do something that I would never let someone do to me if I didn't fully understand what was happening and there couldn't be full communication is slowing down and realizing how can we be more collaborative? How can grooming not just happen to a dog? How can we involve the dog? And that's often where all of the problematic behaviors come from is that consent has been taken away from these dogs in a really aggressive way where drastic measures have been taken. And this is no shade to the drastic measures necessarily. Muzzle, pin, force. Like when you take that kind of autonomy away from a dog, the trust that's broken doesn't regrow. You have to burn it all down and start again. And there is no fixing it from that place. It's like we go back to the very beginning and we talk about can we just consent to you being in the room? How do we find a way for you to just be here where you're okay being here? Does your parent need to stay? Do we need to feed you steak the entire time? Do we need to go play ball? What do we need to do for you to feel good about just being here? And then we work on how do we work on you being okay to share your foot with me. I'm not going to force you to do it. How do we work on you being, and I like to call it maybe collaborative is a word I use a lot because it isn't always about consent, but it needs to be a lot more about consent. And the more we can collaborate with the dog in front of us, surrounding a service that has to happen for their own well being, whether they like it or not, that I feel is the picture that's really missing in the grooming industry is that it just is the haircut needs to happen and I have a hour and 20 minutes booked. So, however it's going to happen in that time. But it's finding it's okay, so it doesn't have to be a fully consent-based year-long program, but I'd say 90% of the dogs we work with, we can sort it out in a month, 6 weeks maybe. They just need to just stop for a minute, slow it down, don't do it all at once. Think about the animal in front of you, the experiences it's had, the relationship you wanna have going forward with it, And how do you create that relationship? You do it with collaboration, with trust, with reciprocal actions and training situations and co-regulating and nervous system work, and it's all so complex, and I feel like that's the biggest thing that I wanna shout from the rooftops in our industry in particular, is just that if a dog is giving you a hard time, it means it's having a hard time, and what do you need to do to alleviate that and to show up and prove yourself as a trustworthy leader that this dog can blindly follow while you do this crazy thing and shave its eyeballs?
And I think, I don't think I know when a dog has made me earn the respect, the bonds that you have with that dog
Yeah.
is
Yeah.
phenomenal. It is like no other.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it makes me smile when you have those dogs where you go to do the norm and the dogs, whoa. The episodes you hear on this podcast exist because of one simple belief that everyone who needs a service dog should be able to access one, regardless of what's in their bank account. If you believe that too, support us at pausabilitiesservicedogs.ca. 100% of donations go directly to the dogs and the people who need them. I don't know who you are. You've now got to spend the next X amount of time proving to me that you are someone okay. All right, here we go.
Mm.
But it's just, yeah, it's just fun. It's cool to be part of that when that happens, to be part
Mhm.
of that trust building because you feel it. You literally feel it to your core, that trust.
Yeah.
And you can see it in the dogs.
Yeah,
It
it
like
reaches deep in. You know what I mean?
totally.
It's like boom. It's real
Yeah.
deep in there, and
Yeah. It's if you wanna
it.
pin down a dog, they're not gonna wanna come back, but then if you change the tactic and do breaks and cookies and go outside and come back in, they're gonna remember that, and they're wanna gonna come back.
And it's yeah, apart from if you're April, then you can just walk in a room with any dog and just but,
She got that magic.
she's got the magic, she's got it. And to be fair, some of our that's what makes the team very valuable and very unique, is they all have that with different types of dogs in different stages. They can all
It's
do that.
so true.
Yeah.
They're that's what makes the team is fantastic is what they are. I'm gonna say that obviously, but it's true. They can back th where one can, the other can, and that's
Mhm.
what makes the team so strong,
Mhm.
Yeah.
and all bases are covered. They're phenomenal.
And being able to identify that and nurture it and hire it and train it, that is, I think you have to experience the magic to be able to see it. And even Kayla and I have such different realms of strengths with dogs. I was actually just looking back at some footage from a couple years ago, and we had Kayla's magic is with, for lack of a better words, like just shitty little dogs that have shitty little attitudes and just are, for whatever reason, just persnickety, snappy, aggressive, difficult. And it usually comes often from a place of giving too much, kind of a spoiled monster, not necessarily like really like big fear based stuff, but just dogs that need to have a little bit more respect. There was a dog we were working on, and I have a video, and I had spent like 3 sessions just, like, softly moving, doing all the things, snip here, good boy, like, doing my thing. This dog was so sick of my shit. This dog was just looking at me like, "I don't wanna play the game. This is stupid. I know what you're doing. I have no interest in it." And, like, he snapped. I think he bit me, and I went in the house, and I came back in the studio, and Kayla has this dog by the chin, and she's just fully trimming his face, and he's completely relaxed, and I hadn't been able to do that in 3 sessions with this dog. I'm talking about Teddy.
Yeah, teddy bear.
It was just a moment where she was, "You know what, pal? You've had every opportunity to be successful, and you're just making choices to control the room and control what's happening." And so she put her hand under and she grabbed his chin, and when he went to snap at her, she just was like a stone, and she just stood there, and she held his chin hair, and she didn't engage, and she let him have an absolute tantrum. And when he was done, he was like, "Oh, okay." And that was literally what that took to, she still had to do some work after that, but that was a unbelievable moment for this dog where all of the tomfoolery stopped after that. And
Yeah.
Kayla just has this magic with dogs like that, this confidence and just this, "Enough's enough." And you gotta know when that's appropriate, and that just takes
Yeah.
experience to know what do that would be completely inappropriate for some dogs, but
Yeah.
Kayla just is able to know those dogs, know exactly how to handle them, and she can do things that even owners are like, "Oh, I wouldn't pick him up," and 2 seconds later, Kayla's, like, cradling him with the dog on her back, and, like, it's just small dog magic that she has, and it's something that, like, I can't do.
And I think dogs have they have an ability to identify those people. So
Totally.
as soon as they see them, they're like, "You.
Yes.
You are the one that is now permitted to do whatever you want because I feel you." Whatever energy it is, they're like, "You're the one. Tell your mate to go away, and I'm only dealing with you."
So true. It's so true. I can think of at least 4 dogs off the top of my head that are like that with Kayla, that's only Kayla, and I can, like, maybe give them a little pat, but they're like, you ain't it. I'm sorry."
It's hard when you're looking at dogs and, like, yeah, when you're reading body language like we do, and as we do, it I find sometimes it can be quite comical, like when you're stood there and you're working with a dog and they look at you like they literally look at you as if they are subliminally communicating, "You
Totally.
are stupid. You are so stupid."
And that's
Yeah.
exactly what was happening with that dog, was I could just tell it thought everything I was doing was stupid. And so it was just unwilling, and then when Kayla stepped in, he's, "Alright, you were a lot clearer, you were a lot more direct, let's you and me go ahead and take this thing all the way home." And I was like, "I'll
But
just
the
show myself out."
but those are the teaching moments. I think those are the teaching moments, and I joke about it, but the serious part is those are the teaching moments for us that work in the industry in understanding that's what's really happening. The dog is actually showing us that lesson. You know what I mean? It's like,
Totally.
this is what I need you to do. And until you learn that, it ain't happening.
It's
Mhm.
all feedback. It's all feedback, and what you do with the feedback is totally up to you. And I think
And
knowing your strength, there's
yeah,
stuff that I know is my strength. Working breeds is probably more my, like, really complex, intelligent dogs. Like, when I'm having to really puzzle and think my way out of something, that's my strength. And it's really awesome. Kayla and I have a lot of natural opposite strengths. And we've both completely naturally fallen into 2 roles. We've never discussed it. It's just happened how we go into it, and we just both sit in these 2 camps. They work super well together. We know exactly who's gonna handle what dog and how it's gonna go, and I think knowing what is your strength and how can you best serve the industry, stick with
Mhm.
that. And if you aren't the person for that, find somebody else who can do it better. You don't have to be able to do all of it. Know what your strength is and play to it.
I think that's the evolution, I think, of the dog industry is losing the mentality of you've got to be the master of all. I
Yeah,
think it's you've gotta be a master at it. You've gotta do it all. Have you? Why?
yeah,
If it doesn't work for me, why should I keep pushing myself and going through that? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's but then there's someone next to me who can do it, loves it, enjoys it, does it naturally. Does that not make more sense to make that a unified team and work that way?
100%.
Yeah.
And you could
You know?
learn something along the way. Feel like Kayla and I are constantly learning from each other in, like, how we experience things and what works and what doesn't. And it's if you're doing it right, you're never not learning. You've never arrived. There's always something to learn. So if you can watch somebody else do it better, like,
And I think that's a crucial point as well within the industry is understanding you'll never ever, if you're doing it properly, reach the ceiling. You'll never get there
yeah.
Mhm.
because there is always something there.
Even
And
just
it,
watching back when I was looking back on some old footage, I was watching it was probably from, I don't know, 2 years ago, but I just was watching some sessions we filmed, and I was really surprised by how critical I was of it. I was like, "Oh, I wouldn't do that now," or, "Oh, I'm surprised I held on that long," or I just feel like we're refining it more and more because we're paying so much attention, and you just if you're open to being like, "Okay, so that used to work, but this is actually gonna work better." And now I can look at how we do the sessions, and it's I didn't know how much it's changed over the course of only 2 years. We've been doing the program for probably 5, but even just the last 2 years, I noticed so many things that I'm like, "Oh, I would do that completely differently," or, "Oh god, I wouldn't." I would completely wanna tell that Kelsey off 2 years ago and be like, "You did that wrong. There's a way better way to do that."
I remember when, yeah, definitely. I remember like in the early days when when I was I didn't really know about body language, dog body language, and I was learning about or I'd heard about it, and I was like, "Yeah, whatever. I know better than that. It's whatever." And then I embraced it, and then that was the turning point for me. That was a really big turning point for me because
Nice.
I had to eat a bit of humble pie, not a bit. There was several areas where I had to eat some humble pie and go, "You know what? That's me, not the dog."
And that's
But
learning.
Yeah.
the lesson was that it made me a better person because I had to eat that humble pie and change myself and the way I presented myself in certain situations. So, yeah, it was worth it. It was definitely worth it. But I think at that moment of the dog body language definitely opened my world, and I see it and view it very
Mm.
differently, especially
Uh-huh.
with dogs. I see dogs
Yeah.
very differently now.
I
Very
feel like the equivalent to dog body language is super important in grooming, and it's shocking how little of that is taught. In grooming schools, it is predominantly just the technical work. The groomers are not read to understand behavior, body language, all that kind of stuff. But something that's really blowing up our world, I'd say, within the last year is taking into account like the nervous system and nervous system work and how truly dogs and humans co-regulate. Whether you know it or not, your dog is regulating with your nervous system. And that is why dogs are our mirror. And if you're stressed or the groomer's having a bad day, that goes to the dog. Or why if you're anxious that your dog's going to be reactive, it's traveling down the leash. The reason when we talked about it being energy, it's all nervous system work. And the deeper we're getting into understanding somatic work and how we can regulate and train a nervous system and how much more pliable a dog is to learning when you've regulated them first. It's unbelievable. And this is the one area that I am chomping at the bit to learn more and take courses when we have a bit more capacity. Is I feel like it's been a real light bulb moment for me of this makes so much sense for everything in my entire career. And I just had never really considered it like we have been because we're just learning more, right? We're learning a lot more about the biochemical relationship between dog and human.
Yeah, those light bulb moments are big. For me, they were big
Big.
moments. I remember Namira, our first dog, April's first service dog, her sister ended up coming to us, and at that point, it was large group play, and Nim and her sister were there, and it was yeah, it still blows me away when I think about it now. They were not dominant dogs, they were blue tick coonhounds, but they were socially awkward anyway by default. But the 2 of them, because at that point I'd accepted the dog body language and I was watching it and I was in it, but I watched them, and every now and then they would come together and they would tap noses and they would walk off, and one would be one end, one would be the other, they'd be interacting with the other dogs, but everything was calm, and then they'd come back, and then they'd just tap each other's nose and then walk off, and it suddenly dawned on me, I was like, "They're actually communicating, they're controlling this in a passive way, actually talking to each other and checking in with each other that everything's all." And it blew my mind because I was like, "No one told them that. No one taught them that." There was 2 sisters,
Yeah,
after 8 weeks, went their separate ways. They came back many years later, and they still did that. And I was like,
that's unbelievable.
"That's phenomenal," and it was so cool to see, and yeah, that was a big light bulb moment. That was like, "Yeah, dog body, this language thing, yeah, this is it. This is nailing it now."
Yeah.
A huge thanks also to Helmcken Veterinary Clinic, a fantastic local team here in Victoria, BC, who genuinely care about the animals they treat and the people who love them. Knowledgeable, friendly, and always there when you need them. Find them at helmckenvets.ca. Oh,
When you're open to looking at something and seeing something, there's so much to see. But if you don't
Yeah.
know what you're looking for, you're missing it all.
Yeah.
I also find as well when you're watching it, it's like hearing the conversations in your head. And so it's like you can walk in and you're hearing the speech. It's a very weird thing to explain, but you
No, I
hear
think
it.
we do that in the studio all the time. We'll just catch the way a dog even looked at us or responded to something, and
Yeah.
Kayla and I will break out laughing because we know exactly what that dog just said to us in its own
Yeah,
way.
it is. And for me, that's confirmation that you're in the right place. You're in the right place, the right space, and you are on their level. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is. But Yeah, it's an interesting one. I think we're learning or have learned, it's definitely between the 2 of us, I think we've definitely learned that there's definitely more that we do that fits with each other than 2 separate entities. Does that make sense? We feed each
As
other.
Woofability and the calm dog?
Yeah, I think, like,
Yeah.
Totally.
there's a lot more that we do, whereas, again, old school is you are groomers, we are trainers, that's it. We go to you for grooming, you come to us for training, that's it. But I think there's to see that's actually now merging if you're in that's cool. I think that's really cool.
It's super cool.
It is
I think
cool.
it's the next step. I think it's the next step. I think it's the way forward. I think it's how that we how professionalism in this industry will move. I think it's the next natural step.
I definitely feel like the winds of change for sure. I don't pay as much attention to other industries, but even just in the grooming world, like how you saying there's the old school way, that there's a lot of discourse about that, about this being a very archaic way of learning. And if you can't break the cycle, as you were saying, or learn in a different way, more and more people are calling something out and being like, sure, you can do that, but that's a really uneducated old school way to do something. And if you don't want to move on with the rest of us who are learning a better way to do it and who are eating the humble pie as we go, because that's a part of it. It's the pie that changes you. And if you
You're
refuse
right.
to eat it, you're not going
I
to learn,
think
you're not going to change.
I think when I refer to old school, there's traditional stuff that I believe belongs, is the backbone to our
100%.
industry. And I'm not saying trash can it completely. I think there's some traditional stuff. There is some stuff that still works. But I think
100%.
it's about understanding that and acknowledging that there is some very important traditional stuff that will probably still keep going for the testament of time, if I'm honest. But there's also some bits and pieces that it needs to move forward.
And that's the
Doesn't
stuff I find it speaks for itself. Like the kind of the pillars that have always been there, as things evolve, they still hold up. They still matter. They're still effective and fair and kind. And it's the other stuff that kind of starts to fade away.
yeah.
That's the stuff that you want to throw out. And it's like, I can show you right now a better way to do that's going to get you better results, less stress, less whatever. And or I hope and I feel like it's organically separating. Like the stuff that's been there, that's always been there, that we're just going to keep building, that's foundational. And then the stuff that really is just like, we just didn't know better. And a no judgment for doing it at the time because it's what we thought, it's what we knew. But when you know better, you do better.
And I think that's another key point. It's that at the time, a lot of that was designed for the time, for the way it was.
Yep.
And we are clearly not in that time now.
No.
Totally. It's even like an old TV show that you love to like something you love to watch in the 90s and you rewatch it and you're like, oh, it's so cringy. There's all this stuff. We would never say that. We can't laugh about that now. That's not okay.
What
And
did
we're
I like about this?
yeah,
Yeah.
totally.
No, I think it's great. I think it's cool. I think there's a lot of work in the industry as a whole. I think it's developing. I think it's gaining momentum. It's
Totally.
moving. The speed is starting to pick up, I think. And I think in years to come, in a few years, I think there's going to be a big shift. I think there will be a big shift. And I think it will definitely establish those that have been paying attention and those that haven't. I think it's,
Totally. Time
I
time will
think,
out all of it.
yeah, I think there's a brutal time coming, and that's sad, but I think it's something that needs to come.
It feels good feeling like you know it's coming, but I'm already anticipating it. I feel like especially even just you having us on here to have these conversations is it's so important. It's important to hear people talking about this. It's important to say it out loud. It's important to encourage this kind of conversation. And as not to sound horrible and braggy, but as organizations that are at the forefront of this is how we want to change and grow and learn and do better, to be including as many people in the conversation as possible, not just quietly going about our business and doing things in our own way, but wanting to collaborate with other people who have the same morals and values and talk about it and share it. I think that is a big part of the responsibility of wanting to make changes for the better is bringing as many people with you as you can.
And I think that's
Absolutely.
the difference of now to old school, because old school, it was just like, I'm not going to talk to anyone. I'm not going to talk to any other groomers. This is what I was taught. This is what I'm doing. And now that there's social media and like
Yeah.
podcasts and everything that we can be involved with, I think that's really opening people's eyes, because 20 years ago we didn't have any of this and we couldn't really reach out to other groomers. But now that
Yeah.
platforms that we can use, I think it's just going to be like, we're just going to go up from here.
That's super true.
Absolutely, and yeah, and the painful part to that is those of us that are the forefront runners
Yeah.
in years to come, the generations behind us,
Yeah.
that it's gonna be easier because they haven't got that part, and we're gonna be like, "Oh, you know nothing.
Totally.
You the journey you're taking, oof, I would pay
Easy.
anything for that." You know? But no,
And I
it's been
love
good.
that for them.
Yeah, it's been good, and it's this episode is supported by Trupanion, pet health insurance that's been protecting cats and dogs for over 25 years. Unlike many insurers, Trupanion offers unlimited coverage with no annual caps and direct payment to your vet, so you never have to find thousands of dollars in an emergency. They even offer a discount specifically for service dog handlers. If your dog's health matters, and I know it does, head to trupanion.com to find out more. It's been good to be part of that, to know that you're part of that mechanism that's moving forward. Do you know what I mean?
It's
Yeah.
super energizing and inspiring.
Exciting. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's hard, it's draining, it's tough,
It is. Yeah.
but
But at the end
but
of the
it's
day, when you
worth
get
it
the
to
result,
know that we're molding something to its
yeah.
next evolutionary step. To me, is
Yeah.
big
Yeah.
because the dogs are going to benefit in
Totally.
every way, shape, and form.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's awesome, and you're right. Having these conversations, it's hard to hear for some people, and I know that some people be like, "Whoa, that's a bit of a harsh way of looking at it."
Yeah.
It
And
is, but that this is the reality. This is
yeah.
where we're at.
This
This
is
is
how we
where,
evolve. This is
yeah,
how we go on and change things. And yeah,
it is. It's how we make things better.
totally. Yeah.
We're
And
just
let's maybe give space for people to have made mistakes and want to do better.
Like,
Kayla was saying if 15 years ago, you know, the internet was what it was, I don't think I would be as proud of how I was grooming and handling things 15 years ago. Not that I was doing anything nefarious, but I just know how much I've learned now and
mm,
what my expectations are like for myself now. So I think there needs to be grace for, yeah, okay, this was done. It wasn't great. There's a better way, but instead of punishing, shaming, judging. Let's judge the people who refuse to change. Let's judge the
yeah.
people who don't want to learn better, don't want to hear it, or closed off, are,
Yeah.
choosing willful ignorance. I'm not talking about that, but I think it's also important, especially in the day and age where social media is what it is, just to be kind in how we go about trying to create change and giving grace to people as they're learning and having to choke down the humble pie because it's an uncomfortable
absolutely.
experience.
And
Yeah.
I grew up in a time where dogs were thought of very differently to how they're thought of now. And
Yeah.
I hold my hands up. I was party to that thinking, that way of behaving with dogs, because that was how it was. That
For
Yep.
was
sure.
how it was done. That was there was no trailblazer. There wasn't anyone coming forward and going, "Hey, let's try it this way." It was literally that way and that way alone. And
Totally.
but to be part of that moving forward bit, yeah, as a humble pie is standing there going, "Wow, whoa, that was bad." Do you know what
Yeah.
I mean? But it's the learning curve. It's yeah, I go, "Yeah, that was bad." Yeah, it was, but it was more a case of that makes sense now. You know, do you see what I mean? It made sense why
Yep.
that was happening.
Yeah.
It it was like an answer that came many years later.
Yeah,
Here's the
making
question,
the best decisions you can with the information you have available to you.
Yeah,
and when everyone around you is teaching you that way, and it you have no one else to go to, but you're being taught that way. It's
totally.
yeah, but it's cool. It's good. I think we're in a good place. I think we're moving to good places.
I think so too.
Oh,
Awesome.
yeah. So, because we love talking about dogs, we've had to make this episode in two parts. That's right, two parts. So I need you to keep an eye out for part two. That'll be coming real soon. That's a wrap on today's episode of Pause on Point. A huge thank you to everyone involved in today's episode. These conversations mean everything to this community. If today's episode resonated with you, please share it with one person who needs to hear it. That's how we grow, and that's how we create change. And if you want to support the mission behind the podcast, head to pausabilityservicedogs.ca. Every single dollar goes directly to funding a life-changing service dog partnership for someone who needs it most. Until next time, take care of yourselves and each other. And remember, hit that like button and share. Thank you.